The boys are back in town. It's Monday Night Football. It's week number 5. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. Tom Vecchio, it's on the right side, and Mike Carver. We got action tonight, boys. How we feeling, Tommy?
Feeling good. We got some baseball playoffs already underway. We have this game coming up. NHL season starts tomorrow. Great time. I think we're in for a good game. It's good to see that Xavier Worthy is going to play, make the offense that much better. I will say the records for these teams and recent performances, a little bit misleading.
No, it certainly is going to be misleading. Now, by the way, we are looking at Xavier. I'm going to start. Mike, I'm going to get to you in a second here. Xavier Worthy, trustability tonight, though, Tom. What is it?
It's tough. It really is tough. And a part of me wants to say if he's out there, I think he'll be good to go and he'll be very clearly on pace to hit his props. I don't think he'll be out there in a decoy role. So if he were, if there were concerns about him being a decoy, at least in my mind, I wouldn't play his props. For me, it's over or nothing when it comes to Worthy. He is on my most important fantasy team. I am desperate for a win with this team, and I'm just barely a few points ahead. So I'm not betting on him because of that reason.
Busy man. Mike Carver with us tonight, too. Monday Night Football, Kansas City and Jacksonville. We'll start with it right away. -3.5, holding steady across the board there, Mike. Total 45.5. I'm struggling with this football game tonight. I'm not going to lie.
It is a struggle, and it's good to see you boys, as always, here for a little Monday night action. Look, the Chiefs have played better the last couple of weeks. There's no doubt about that. But I got to tell you, Donnie, I like what this Jaguar team has done in the first 4 weeks.
To me.
I like what Liam Cohen has brought to this Jaguar team. There's a little bit of something they were missing over the last couple of years. Haven't quite seen everything I've wanted to see from Trevor Lawrence yet, but I think ETN's gotten out to a great start. The O-line's played well. The defense maybe just enough. I think this is a game where you're getting that half coming into play, that 3.5. I'm leaning to the Jaguars tonight, Donnie. And look, we know how the Chiefs do things. Since Mahomes been there, on the road as a favorite. 39-10 straight up, 24-23-2 against the spread. So from a number perspective, they keep these teams in it on the road despite being favorites.
Look, I'm with you on that. I really am. Like, Tom, if we just talk about, we'll get to the props in a moment, the -3.5, from the moment I saw this line like a week ago and said, okay, we're setting up for Monday Night Football, my first inclination was give me the points with Jacksonville. I'm interested to see where this line closes at, and it looks like it is going to close at 3.5. So I'm still under the guise of I like Jacksonville at home. And we talked today earlier, like 23-20 feels like the final score for me tonight.
It really does. And again, I said 23-20, 24-21, 24-20. Like these are all realistic outcomes. And it's not just for the spread. It's also obviously for the total, which puts us right at that 45.5. So as I said to you this morning, Jags and the under, because again, that is a razor thin. If this was, 44, I would be okay. We can get over this, but it's going to be close. And again, if we start out with some early scoring, I will be looking to take a live under.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what we get out of both offenses because they can be explosive. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the football 25 times in this game. They're going to try to press it down. But if I honestly, Mike, would have felt a lot better by saying, could the total go over? We haven't seen anything out of Travis Hunter yet. Brian Thomas Jr. sometimes looks disconnected at times, but I think the offense can move, even though they have two good defenses. But just that simple fact of Xavier Worthy being out, it goes for me where I think Kansas City can be explosive like you saw against like the Ravens. But then if we just go back to that Kansas City we saw before they were explosive, they're going to have a tough time on the road. And they do have tough times on the road typically for Kansas City.
They do have tough times on the road. This game for me, it's especially with the way that I think the game's going to play out. I think if you like Jacksonville tonight, and you like the 3.5, I think you're angling for an under. I think that, like you said, you're angling 23-20, 20-17. I think it's a game where the Jags need to, make good decisions with the football, really get ETN involved a lot in the run game. And that's going to lead to, I think, a lower scoring game. Look, we've seen a bunch of these that could it bust out and we get, 31-27. Sure. I mean, of course, but I'm leaning to the underside tonight to go along with the Jaguars.
It just feels right. Go ahead, Tom.
Let me say this. When it comes to what I said at the top, where I'm not sure, or these teams' recent results have been deceiving, the Chiefs beat the Giants, and then they beat a Ravens team, which is extremely banged up on defense, and Lamar obviously didn't finish that game. Really not that impressive, those two wins. And then for the Jags, you beat Carolina. You lose to the Bengals. That's fine. Their third game was against, I forget, but then they beat the 49ers. So, like, really, they're 3-1, but only one of those wins is like that impressive to me. So, we're dealing with things that are like, okay, like their records are good. The Chiefs are on a 2-game winning streak, but like, how impressive are these wins? What we saw, at least from the Chiefs, from an offensive usage standpoint last week when Worthy was back, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I think we are trending in the right direction.
If we are looking at like the team side itself, because I do think, you look at Spagnuolo's defense, they usually have great defensive schemes.
Yeah.
That's a talented offense for Jacksonville. It just is. It's not like, hey, you shut down Brian Thomas Jr., you have nothing left. A couple really good running backs. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. The guy I have my eye on tonight, which we get to prop bets in a little bit, is Strange at tight end, the same way I'm looking at Travis Kelce tonight. But if I look at that total 45.5, I just don't see explosive all night long out of both of these guys. 45.5 is not 55.5. You can get that in a regular football game. But I just say to myself, the stakes are high tonight, and maybe we don't have the explosive plays, which Kansas City can limit you on that. But just from a Kansas City side, I don't see it at running back. I don't see it at tight end. And if we have a guy on a banged-up ankle as your deep threat there and Worthy, I just, I say to myself, I don't think we're going to have that 21-14 halftime game.
I don't either. I don't either. I spoke to you this morning about Trevor Lawrence under on passing yards. It has been bet up a little bit. I said under 212. It's up to 219 in some spots. So some movement there. But again, I don't think the Jags want to turn this into a shootout, and limiting the Chiefs, I'm going to say it's pretty easy. Their run game's pretty terrible. And I still think they will give Kareem Hunt the ball. We'll get there when we get there for the other props, Donnie. But I think the ground game with ETN is going to be the focal point of the Jags offense tonight.
What do you think, Mikey?
Yeah, same thing. I think it's ETN. I don't trust a lot of the Jacksonville passing game when we get there, especially obviously Travis Hunter. Although I am wondering, guys, and maybe this is more for when we get to those receiving props.
Yep.
Is there just going to be a week where it just all of a sudden just pops off like with Genty? Like Genty, it was like nothing, bang, 3 tutties and 155 yards. Like, is Hunter out of nowhere one of these weeks going to go 7 for 125 and a touchdown or 2? Like, is that coming for Travis Hunter? Because it doesn't seem that way.
I want to say yes, but it also comes down to the fact that he's not playing on a high percentage of snaps. Yeah. And there was, some quotes from Cohen, I want to say before this, after last week, whatever it was, where Parker Washington is expected to play in 2 wide receiver sets, and that's important. So when they have him playing some amount on defense, and that percentage is changing week in and week out, and they're saying they're going to have Hunter on the field, but he's only playing on 52% of the snaps, like that impacts his ceiling. So again, if he's on the field, they're going to look to get him the ball, and he could go for 5 catches, 90 yards, 100 yards, touchdown. But that at true upside, I'm still a little bit wary on. Like, I need to see it. I need to see him out there. Stop playing him on defense. Get him in on 80% of snaps.
You're right, Tom. Week number 2, 58 passing snaps. Week 3, 64 passing snaps. Week 4, 29 passing snaps. But I'm with you, Carver. I look at the number because it's not like he's being priced like he's an A1A player, 69.5 yards, 75.5 yards. He was as low as 28.5. People are betting him up, but I'm with you. When you draft a kid in the first round and you want to get him going, I'm not saying, it's a primetime game, you have to do that. But we're only talking about 3 or 4 catches here, right, to get his number.
That's it. I mean, that's all that you're looking at it right now. I wanted to bring it back up, Donnie, just as we were looking at it, and it's 32.5 for, and I mean, you know how much we love the alts. I know Joe's not with us tonight. Joe's the alt guy. Alt this, alt that. 40 yards plus 136, 50 yards plus 230, 60 plus 360. We talked about this with Waller last week. I know that number was a lot lower when we were talking about Monday Night Football, but this could be a catch. He could catch a 55-yard, he might get a big splash play, and he's got 50 to 60 yards on one play. It's going to come. I hate that the splitting spot. We talked about this ad nauseum for months, the draft, everything. I thought he should have picked one and been done with it. Like, be a corner, be a receiver, trying to do both in the NFL. It's not, it's different. It's just a much different game. So much game planning on both sides of the ball. It's hard enough to do one. I just think that he's got it. He's going to pop off one of these weeks, and we'll see if we're there.
Like, it just takes one. And again, we're talking about a low number. Like Tom and I were doing yesterday, Mike, 30 minutes to kickoff, and it was like A.J. Brown. fight in my head, like, do I go 55.5 yards, 58.5, or did I just take the 5 over 4.5 catches? And I went over 4.5 catches, and he got 5. But you knew he was going to get the football, and he got it early. He had 4 catches in the first half. Like, I look at the same, like, you would be doing him a disservice at wide receiver. Just like, hey, we traded up, gave up a lot of capital. Oh, he's learning his way. It's almost like you got to force feed the kid. Even though they are talented at wide receiver, I do think there's a chance. And just, sometimes it's not actually handicapping. It's more of a feel. Some things have to go right. Like if he gets, let's just say, 2 catches tonight for 11 yards and they lose or win, doesn't matter to me. Come on now, right? Stop.
Yeah, it's tough. It really is tough about like where you identify these players, where you identify the props, what you're looking to attack. And again, I've always said, yards are easier than receptions, but it's obviously situational, team to team. Like what I want to take from one team, I don't want to bring that as a bias into another. There are things that we can take from last year based on coaching tendencies, player usage, formation usage, all those sorts of things. But I want to believe in the players and the talent. And with Travis Hunter, I want to see him out there for 80% of the offensive snaps, stop playing him on defense. Therefore, we have true upside from him instead of being limited on the field.
Exactly. Let's get to that touchdown prop scores market tonight because everybody, just looking at FanDuel, is plus money tonight. Travis Etienne, plus 100. Travis Kelce, plus 165. Xavier Worthy, plus 160. Brian Thomas Jr., plus 190. Tom, I'll start with you first. Who he looks for them? A couple of those pay dirt picks tonight.
It might have to be Kareem Hunt, at least from the Chiefs' perspective at 220. I think that's great. The fact that they're pricing him and Pacheco, I'm going to say somewhat closely, 220, 300, give or take for those two. Kareem Hunt's just a big body inside the 5, inside the 10 back that they like to use. And despite the fact that I think he's a little bit inefficient, and again, the defensive rush metrics for the Jags are misleading. Stopping the Panthers doesn't impress me. Stopping the Texans or the Bengals doesn't impress me. They held CMC last week to 49 yards. Okay, we can kind of check that box. That's good to see. But seeing them be inefficient wouldn't surprise me in this game. And seeing Kareem Hunt go for 10 carries for 40, 50 yards and a touchdown isn't an impressive stat line, but it's very reasonable.
Mike, what have we got?
It's not an impressive stat line, but man, that would be a winning stat line tonight. If you like the overs, over 8.5 carries, over 27.5 yards, getting him into the end zone, which I love, Tom. I'm with you. I mean, Hunt right now was 240 earlier. It's 220 now. I think that he is kind of the guy that's moving past Pacheco in terms of who's got the confidence, who's got the trust.
We got to mention Brashad Smith.
Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't know who this is, Brashad Smith's receiving prop is at 9.5 and his rushing prop is at 9.5. He's the third string running back for the Chiefs. And Mahomes has mentioned him and spoken highly of him, saying that he was a wide receiver in college, I believe. So he's good at route running. So coming out of the backfield with route running. And again, coach speak is obviously the same thing, like QB speak, coach speak, whatever it is. Like, we don't want to buy into some of this because if Brashad Smith actually does play a role coming out of the backfield, like, and the fact that his props are at 9.5, again, just as we spoke about last week, Monk, like, he could have 30 yards, 40 yards combined. Like, okay, 40 yards combined. Like, we're not writing home about that, but he's going over both of his props at that point.
Yeah.
For me, touchdown prop, Travis Kelce. I'm taking the shots on tight ends. Travis Kelce plus 165. Bretton Strange plus 400. I'm going to take a shot on a backup running back tonight and not on the Kansas City Chiefs. Bashal Tutin plus 270. Give me a carry at the goal line, Tommy. Come on, one. Just give me one.
Let's go. I mean, and DRS, I like Kelce as well. He scored in 3 straight games against the Jaguars. I don't particularly like playing him in the regular season anymore. I think he's really just a postseason player for them. But prime time is a different story. I like playing him in primetime games. It was a good spot for Kelce, especially in it's down to 160, 180 earlier, down to 160. Let's get I like Travis and Hunt. And the only guy I'm playing on the Jags, I know it's the chalk on the board, but it's ETN or nothing for me because even though these numbers are juicy, I can't trust Lawrence to get these guys. I just can't. I'm sure one of them's going to get one, Donnie. You're probably right. Whether it's Strange, Brown, Parker Washington, one of these guys will probably catch a touchdown tonight. But for the Jags, I'm just going to play ETN.
There you go. And by the way, it says, look at that little juju kind of night here is what Gus is saying out there on X tonight. How about that?
It could be. And again, it's somewhat of it depends on, are you buying into Xavier Worthy not being fully healthy? Do you think he's going to be playing in somewhat of a decoy role? Anything along those lines. And or, he came into the game a little bit banged up. He's been banged up since week 1. Do we see him get a little bit banged up. He goes in a blue medical tent. All of a sudden, he misses a drive or two. Like that just presents an opportunity for Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, and Kelsey in the middle of the field to pick up a few yards here or there. And buying low on their props. I think Tyquan Thornton's prop is 16.5 or whatever it is. Like that's one catch for him based on his A dot. They like to get him down the field.
QB props, gentlemen. Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, his passing props we'll look at right now. 219.5 for Trevor Lawrence, Patrick Mahomes, 247.5. Any takers on anyone? Nothing jumps out at me. Like Patrick Mahomes should throw, but 250, a little bit high for me. Can he get it? Yes. Trevor Lawrence, I think it's about right at 220 at this point. Anything popping out to you guys on this?
I said I like Lawrence under 212. The line has moved against me up to 219, 218, wherever you can find it. I still think that's where you should be looking. It really should be Mahomes. The fact that he's like their leading rusher, again, ahead of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, like they have no rushing game. So at the end of the day, I think getting the ball out of his hands quickly and not having to face that Jags pass rush, which has been good, easy completions should rack up the yards for him. And frankly, the rushing props for Mahomes are always pretty solid.
How about that, Mike? What do you got?
Tom, if you like him under at 212, you got to love him under at 219. I mean, we got to in. I'm in on the under. Chief pass defense the last couple weeks. I know it was the ghost of Russell Wilson, and it was Lamar getting hurt last week, and you had Cooper Rush in the game. Chief pass defense has tightened up a little bit. I'm predicting hopefully a run game for the Jags tonight. I like this under, especially up at 219.5 for Lawrence this evening. The only thing for me, Donnie, for Mahomes is I think for some SGP pieces, if you're looking for that third leg to put in, so I like Mahomes over 1.5 touchdown passes in the minus 140s. I think that's a nice piece to put into an SGP.
That's nice. That's
what's going to happen is Lawrence is going to end with like 215. And he's going to go over the 212 and under the 219. And I just bought in at the wrong time.
Right in the middle. Patrick Mahomes, you always trust him too, because it's not like you have like a Detroit offense where I got the over 1.5 touchdown passes fairly easily, but you're always worried about they get in the 10s, 2 handoffs and a touchdown. You don't have that for the Chiefs anymore. Like there's no guy walking in the end zone when you hand it off at the 7-yard line. Love that look as well. I'm always touchdown props for quarterbacks. Always one of my favorite go-to look here. Wide receiver statistics tonight. Travis Kelce, 41.5. Xavier Worthy, 57.5. Marquise Brown, 35.5. Then you take a look at some of those options for Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr., 56.5. Travis Hunter, we went over 32.5. Brenton Strange, 35.5. Tom, I'll start with you first. Give me some looks tonight that we might be having.
Well, Worthy's prop was 51.5 yesterday or last night after he was listed as questionable. After they reopened it, it was 51. It's been bet up to 57. So, part of me wants to say that there is a reason simply just to take the under because there's been so much line movement. Yeah. And that's just something you could do really in any sport. You just bet against the public that's been betting it up and up. So take that. I will say if it's not going to be Worthy, again, Juju and Marquise Brown and Kelsey, I think 2 of the 3 come through. I don't know who they are. Yeah. So again, as I will always say, it's like you can just simply bet 3 of them, and you just need 2 to come through in order to be net positive. When it comes to Brian Thomas, the way he's been utilized in the offense is absolutely infuriating compared to what he did last year, which was absolutely unbelievable. So to see him underutilized is insane. I will say, again, 56 is a pretty light number. He's dropped the ball. Like, that's the yips. Like, the usage is still there for him at times. And if he can just come through, I think his prop would still be in the low 70s. So I do think this is somewhat of a buy low for Brian Thomas.
What do we got, Mike? Any buy lows in this option? Any deep shots here? Parker Washington, 15.5?
That is a nice low number there for Parker Washington. I agree with Todd. Like, I think I talked about at the beginning how much I love Cohen and the job he's done. I think that could be the one thing that maybe he hasn't done well is get Brian Thomas Jr. involved a lot more. Now, he can't go out there and throw him the ball either. That's on Trevor Lawrence to go and do those things. But I do think it's a pretty low number for Thomas tonight at 56.5. If I had to take any of these second and tertiary guys for the Jags tonight, it's probably Dwamie Brown. I think that's the guy that I would probably want to be on. I think Worthy's good to go. I'm not worried at all about this popping up on the injury report, inflammation. I don't care. In fact, I like him enough that the alts are probably a little 70+ for Worthy tonight. And I think the Kelsey 50+ is kind of light. Plus 142 for 50+ for Kelsey. I'm in.
Yep. Just take a look here. Travis Hunter up to 35.5 now. He just locked on FanDuel and came back up. Who the heck is getting all over Travis Hunter, man? What do we have, 7, 8 yards today? Wow.
Let me say this. Someone, this Matt, some guy that I normally interact with on Twitter, he tweeted at me under the game specials, Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence to each record 15 plus passing yards in each quarter.
Yeah.
Is plus 100.
Yep.
Question he asked me is like, does that seem like too good to be true?
Seems like it though.
15 in each quarter. Yep. I want to say like that. If they're not getting to 15, the only thing I could possibly think of is Team A goes
on a 9
3 and out, and then the other team goes on an 11 play drive, and it eats up all the time, and then they come back and it's another 3 and out. Like there's just not enough plays run for the other team after a super long drive. That's the only thing outside of an injury. That's the only thing that would hold it back.
All right, let's take a look at some rushing props tonight. Travis Etienne, leader in the clubhouse, 64.5 yards. Next closest guy is going to be Kareem Hunt, 27.5, followed by Pacheco at 26.5. Tom, I'll start with you first here. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, almost similar numbers. Who you trust tonight?
I'm going Kareem Hunt. And again, it's not only their yards are similar, but the rush attempts for Pacheco are down to 7.5. They opened the season at 9.5. So they've been bet down each week. Kareem Hunt's at 8.5. I like his over 8.5. And again, the fact that their numbers are so close with Kareem Hunt being the bigger body back, something is just wrong with Pacheco. And I don't know if it's the injury from last year. He's just not fully healthy. The explosiveness isn't there, the way he's being utilized. But the fact that they're splitting snaps and Kareem Hunt is the bigger body back to see in the red zone, I'm just going to lean on Kareem Hunt over 8.5 rushing attempts.
What do you got, Mike? Rushing props tonight. Travis Etienne, leader in the clubhouse, buying low, buy Schultz Tootin.
I like Etienne tonight. I like the 64.5 for him. Woo! I'm willing to go as high as 80, which is plus 172.
I like it.
So I think that this is the way the Jags are in this game tonight. They have to stick with what has been working the past couple weeks. Etienne has really come out with a purpose through these first few games. He's my guy. I don't care about anything else. I will say, I was reading something about this earlier. The Lawrence rush number has really started, that used to be in the low 20s.
Athletic.
18 to 22. Yep. It's down to 12.5 because he hasn't really been running at all so far this year. Could we catch a low number with Lawrence on 12.5?
How about 22.5 for Mahomes? Like those big games.
That's kind of low, too.
About Monday Night Football. Good pass rush on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good pass rush also on Kansas City. Sometimes you look at that, too, like, oh, bad defense. I don't actually look at bad defenses. I love really good pass rushes when I want to get my props to force them out of the pocket. Mahomes, 22.5, Tommy. What do you think?
57, 66, 2 and 5 are Mahomes totals.
Damn.
So started off the season on fire. And like to your point, bad defenses are good for things, but ultimately the pass rush is what's more important. Yeah. So like designed runs versus just having to scramble out of the pocket are important. I remember, I'm going to say 3 years ago, the Eagles played on Thursday night at the Texans, and everyone's like, the Texans defense, their rush defense is terrible. This was like 3 seasons ago. Yeah. And everyone's like, Hurts over. And I'm like, everyone's wrong. The only time Hurts scrambles is when he's being forced out of the pocket. When they're 7 or 10-point road favorites at the time, they're going to run the ball. Therefore, Hurts doesn't. And what happened? Of course, Hurts goes under because he goes in scramble mode against pass or, when they're dropping back to pass. Exactly. So I would say Mahomes over would be the play based on the Jags pass rush, not their run defense.
Throwback uniform tonight for the Jaguars, watching them warm up here. Should be a good game overall as we watch. I'm just watching the Philadelphia Phillies start to fold up right now. 1st and 3rd, nobody out now for the Dodgers in the 7th inning. After the Phillies left 1st and 2nd, off 1 out. Bryce Harper struck out, and Alec Boehm grounded out. And now it looks like the Dodgers probably going to come to play. I think Freddie Freeman got the second base, is what it's showing right here. So good luck on the Philadelphia Phillies season. It was fun to watch. Same thing for Yankee backers out here, but we'll be getting to this game soon. But coming up shortly is the NFL game tonight. 8:16 kickoff, 3.5 still that number, 45.5 on the total. So we'll just give a little roundabout here, Tom Vecchio, tonight.
We got a Schefter tweet.
Man. What do you got?
We got a Schefter tweet.
Ooh. Chiefs
have added offensive tackle Josh Simmons to their injury report. Listing is questionable due to an illness. If their O-line is just that much more banged up, the Jags pass rush, that much better.
How about
that's something to keep in mind.
Get home. Is that, by the way, was it Hines Allen? Who's Is there a pass rusher down tonight on the inactives for the Jaguars?
Yeah, he had hand surgery. Trayvon Walker.
There you go.
Yeah,
Trayvon
Walker's
Walker,
out.
yeah.
1 week ago, so he's inactive tonight.
See what happens here. We'll see what happens. Tom, Mike, going to you. 3.5, 45.5 thoughts.
Yeah, 3.5. Jags 3.5 for me. Under 45.5 as well. Little SGP I threw together, Donnie. Hunt over 27.5 rushing yards. ETN 70+ rushing yards. Mahomes over 1.5 touchdown passes, and Kelsey 40+ on the alt. I also put the ETN and Kelsey touchdowns together with a little parlay, and a first touchdown for Kareem Hunt tonight as well at 12-1.
Like to say. Go ahead, Tommy. What do you got?
Yeah, Lawrence under 212, under 219, wherever you want to get it at. I think that's fine. I don't mind ETN over 80.5 rushing plus receiving. I know, Mike, you like him just on the rushing. That's fine, but I like the rushing plus receiving as well. Kareem Hunt over 8.5 rushing attempts. And then I'm going to be on Brashad Smith over on both 9.5 rushing yards and 9.5 receiving yards. I'm going to buy into, I don't want to say, again, the coach speak, Mahomes speak, whatever you want to call it, but if he's right and they utilize him and it hits, that number is going to be at 15.5 next week. And that's a completely different number. Like 15.5 on both is dramatically different than 9.5. I know 6 yards, 7 yards doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when a player is only seeing 25% of the snaps.
Yeah, for me tonight, I do like the Jaguars getting the 3.5. The 3 touchdown props, again, would be Tootin for me, Strange for long shots, and then Travis Kelce thrown in there. At least one of those guys gets one, you'll be okay. And then the props market themselves, I'm sticking with the tight ends. Travis Kelce over 41.5 yards and Strange over 35.5 yards. It's a shame. Like, I would have said, Travis Hunter but he just constantly is getting bet up tonight, and that close to, who knows, where he's going to be at game time at this point right now. He's 36.5 when he was 28.5 earlier today. So that's where I'm going with this action tonight. So that'll do it, boys. 8 o'clock. Nice little 27-minute show on a Monday night. We'll be back on Thursday Night Football. Eagles and the Giants.
We got NHL season tomorrow, though.
NHL opens tomorrow. Triple header.
Wednesday.
too.
Habs game over 5.5. Still at 5.5. Not yet 6. It's at -130 juice on the over, but get in now.
Look at that. Get it now. Mitch
Well, hockey play too, DRS. You like that? Tom slipping in the hockey play.
Hey, baby. Watch it play out in Philadelphia. We're going to the playoffs. All we needed was Tocchet. That's all we needed. Tortorella out, Tocchet in. Bang, playoffs for the boys up here. UBS Arena will be rocking this year for the Islanders. See what happens. Right? All right, boys. Be good tonight. Thanks for tuning into the show.